Let's begin to count down the time. And we have 30 minutes to use the AI in order to create something. I have decided to create a web page that has my CV. For that reason, let's ask the Perplexity. What technology is best in order to create such a well site? We will see it's in classic things like Hugo 11 Next.js. I don't know what is Hugo even. I will search probably later. I would choose Next.js. We will make it with Next.js. So I chose Claude or my agent in the Cursor AI. Sorry, my cat's the meow. Create a project, Next.js. Search an internet on internet for latest update, 2025. One empty page. I'm recording now. You decided now to scream? Come here. Come here to take your picture. Don't come here. I want to show you to everybody. This is Rulis. Wait to know. We will name the application CV, my CV. We will select here the by default yes. We will not select ESLint because it will create problems later. It will always warning you that you need to improve the code. And you choose yes and the next and the default values and press enter, 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 enter until find. Until install. We'll see that he created. The first page in Next.js is the page. And he started building the basics. And the layout has the basic layout. And we need to initialize the Git. It's very significant to initialize the Git. Git is version control that we need to create it. The agent started the application. You can copy that link in your browser. Let's go here and let's add the URL at the browser. I have stopped myself, sorry. Yes, it's perfect. It's an empty page. As supposed to be. I have asked for an empty page, I get an empty page. It's very significant to initialize the Git and commit in every successful step. At the moment, you will see that I typing and I don't realize that I have error and I think it's all correct because I typed the Git command, not incorrect folder. I will fix that and I will don't start later because now I'm dubbing the Greek version of the video. in order to make this commits, again, is that we can safely return back if the AI broke the program. Let's ask Claude that you are expert in the UI HTML design. Design for me a modern CV page. I use Claude in order to get simple or very good start initial up. Usually does very good job. Notice that I added a role that you are expert. I always add a role. I always ask him, tell what I want. Usually I don't speak to the LLMs in Greek. I prefer English. I added the 2025 in order to give me as modern as can be the AI. Remember that you will not always get the best result with the first try. But now we have 23 minutes rest and we need to have something. So we're waiting for the answer. You will notice that the Claude always create right in the code, and when he finished, you will see. He will run the code. Also, he always create the code in, usually if you don't say something else, he creates the codes in Node.js. That's very interesting because you can use that code in Next.js or the agent, our agent in the cursor. He will understand it faster. Now let's go to the Perplexity, and as we await to create the mockups, the Claude to search for awarded CV web pages. I do that in order to get characteristics of best pages, in order to use one of or two of those characteristics in a second step. Of building our page in order to add something that it will be, you will distinct us from the competitors. I will select the research, the advanced research, in order to search in depth in made pages and get the results that usually gets more time. He gave me this blue background and this UI. Also added my data because I already copy pasted from the Word CSV. I have the PDF. I have. At least he has my data. I copy the cont and I go to the agent in the cursor. I will paste this cont and I will tell him to. Here is in a CV example in HTML code. Not so correct. It's not HTML. It's I think not JS or React. I don't remember. I need to set that. I paste the code. And let's add here that added as my first page. Now we need to wait in order the agent understand my questions and needs and starts to build the new page, TSX. Remember that in the next years, probably he will put the CSS code in the global if the major layout on the layout and the rest components in the page. As we go further, probably you will see to split in components because we don't want to create a very big file page .tsx. It's not good for the agent also if you want to change something, it's better to have small files. Let's check in the ChatGPT now that search for awarded web pages, color palettes for minimal, because later I want also to add a palette that is better than the initial it choose. It will be easier probably to change that later because we split the code, the CSS in another file, the layout in another file, the data in other file. And let's press the ask from the Claude to try one more time. Maybe give us a better result. I don't know, should I have the time to make so many changes? I went to the previous answer of the Claude and I downloaded the web page, the HTML page, in order to preview on my browser. And if I can preview this HTML, it seems that is simple HTML and JavaScript, and not wrongly as expected before that it was React. Agent seems has finished his job. Let's see the server. Notice that the server now started at the 3001 port and not in our previous that was 3000. As our result was success, we make it a save point with the Git. Again, I receive error messages, but because I am stressed, I don't see it. I'm sorry about that. I will see later that I'm not in correct folder. I got answer from the Perplexity for the top 10 good elements that can have a word page of CV. I will ask from Perplexity. This is the second drive of the black. I don't like it. It's too light. But I will tell to the Claude that I made an investigation and found the following. Create for me a prompt for an LLM in order to add two of these elements to my CV web page in order to have something amazing. I think I need to change the prompt. I will choose the extend thinking. That's my, because if you don't choose extend thinking, he will give you a very fast answer. But with thinking, with extended thinking, he will use chain of thought. He will think again and how it's going to implement this. I asked him not to implement the code. I asked him to create it the prompt that I will use it in the agent, in the cursor, in the left program. That's a very interesting approach. So I'm reading now the prompt, but I will copy and paste it to the agent and I will tell him to do it. We have only 40 minutes left. I see that he will install new framework, new libraries in order to create the motion effect. Let's read more about the prompt in order to understand what we asked him to add. It's very interesting that Claude thought about the mobile devices. I forgot that totally. To be the page to be adaptive. I like the split from what I want and the requirements in order to ensure that the AI will do that steps. But he started to create the components, but you will see that it does not create it inside the source application, but outside the MyVC folder. You will see below a blue source directory. So the agent now put the new code in a wrong place. And I didn't realize that yet. Now I realize that he put the code in the wrong folder. The initial problem here is that I opened the cursor outside from the folder. I needed to start the cursor and open the folder. Immediately. So it will have this problem. I stopped him and I tell the agent that you have put the components outside the MIVC folder and needs to fix it. He will understand what I said, he will see, and he will move the components, probably with a unique command. He will again see all the connections if needs something to add. You will not need to press the accept always. You can add it at the end when he finished. I press the accept. But it's not necessary to do it all the time. We have 11 minutes left, already 20 minutes past. Very interesting. Very beautiful palettes of colors. I like it very much. But unfortunately, you will see that I don't have the time to implement it correct. I will try in another 30 minutes challenge. But I like that. I like that pink palette very, very much. The agent has finished his job. Let's see the result. Notice again that the agent around the new versions in a new port. Probably because I don't stop correctly the previous servers that agent started. That's the reason he starts in new ports. And I'm not very sure that I'm looking now the correct server. That's the reason I don't see yet. Ah, I noticed that it's not 30. I changed that. I don't see any change yet, but after I put the second awarded element in the cursor, you will see the changes. So let's put the second prompt that Claude created for us. But before that, remember always we need to use the git in order to have a safe point to return. Remember that whenever you commit something, you created points in the history that you can return back. And we will use it in the last minutes where our last effort destroy all the project. It's very easy to return back. And you don't need to know git commands. You just ask from the AI to press the correct command in order to help you. But you need to know what git does. I'm going now the page because I'm trying to find the parallax that suppose that I've added, but I don't see it. Probably because I have a solid color as background and not an image. Probably that's the reason I don't see the parallax here. I think we have 8 minutes. Time has passed very, very fast. Let's add the second prompt. I delayed here. I don't know why I delayed to add the second prompt. Ah, he adds an element custom cursor. You will see that he will change the cursor and on the web page. That's a very interesting element. Also adds a ripple effect on the cursor. You will see all that also later. I think this is the last successful prompt I added. After that, I tried to change the palette and the project destroyed, and I turned a point back with the help of the git. I think he's ready to finish. He added animated buttons, ripple effect, mouse highlight, titles. I think this time you will see a lot of changes in the UI. Always he added first the component and he finished to make the final changes in the main file that our main file is the page.tsx in the Next.js. I'm thinking to make it faster, but he will not make it faster. I'm trying to prepare the second prompt. I'm looking the page because I'm still trying to find the parallax effect. I didn't. Now I think that I don't have a solid image background in order to find. And now I'm impressed because I see the changes. I see the mouse, I see effects, the button on the buttons. I see fading in with not so smooth scrolling. The education scrolling was better. I'll see also that when you have the mouse open the card, show more informations. Now I see better reactions. Again, and this is very significant, save and use the git in order to add a safe point to return back if something happens. I think now I understand that no git command was correct. And I'm scared. Yes, now I understand that. Now I read. I needed to ask them AI for that. I copy the message, I paste it in the agent. But I see the message. Probably I will realize that the problem is that I'm not in the correct folder. I lose minutes here. We have only 2 minutes. The time is, I think we managed to add 3 valid prompts. The other time was to correct fix errors. Now I show that the solution was to go to inside the folder myvc, and he was very angry with myself. Next time, I will create a project in the cursor and I will select the initial folder and go inside. And now I'm trying to desperately try to change the color palette in the last minute. But something gone very bad here. Something went very bad here. The code. So I was very lucky that the last git I added was correct. I am counting out the seconds. It's very sure they will fail the time. As I told you, he created new rules. He updated the color.ts, the global.ts as styling sheet file. And again, I realize now, and I will realize later, that he made the changes in the wrong folder. That's the reason he didn't work the new palette apply. You see that he does not add the new files in the app folder, but below. If you have a situation like that, you could add a custom instruction in the Cursor AI agent in order to tell him that ensure that you are in the correct folder before you add the changes in the file, or you can tell him that check if the file exists where you want to change it. Time has passed, but I insist in order to succeed. But I didn't realize yet that I am in the wrong folder again, and the agent changes files in the wrong folder. Because the agent changes files and the server is live, I press refresh in order to see changes, and I don't see any changes, but I am so anxious that I don't see that all the changes are in the wrong folder. Anyway, in a few minutes I will see that. I run the server, I select the correct port. No changes yet. Of course, no changes because all the changes is in another folder. I press refresh and control shift refresh in order to make hard refresh in order to not include cache. I ask him. I tell the agent that I run the project, but I didn't show color changes. And I see the page that has around. I didn't realize yet that it was in wrong folder. As clever as be an agent, he didn't understand that the problem was a wrong folder, and now I realize that the problem is the folder. But the time has passed. The solution to avoid that problem is always to start the cursor inside the myvc folder and not outside of myvc folder. That was my mistake. We lost the time limit, of course. Also, because I have stopped it and I have changed already a few changes. He made already a few changes in the page.tsx. He will destroy all the projects. You will see now when I refresh the page that it will not show correct. But it's amazing that when you try something that is so fast creative, the time passed so fast. You see now that he didn't manage to change all the colors in all the elements. He need more time. And I will try in a few minutes to copy paste the files from the wrong folder to the correct as a last result. But this is very obvious that the project is mess up. This is a point that you need to use the Git to go back without second thought. And you can do that easily. First, you press Git stash and you make all the current changes to put aside. Do not lose them, just put aside. And with another Git command, you can return to the previous state that the application was workable and functional. Now you will see that I press Git stash, so I remove all the changes after the last Git commit, and now the page is worked as supposed to be from the last commit.